see if we're back live.
Oh, okay.
So the YouTube channel.
Hey.
Think about that. There we go.
Okay, yeah.
Here we go.
Mine's pretty short. It's only the working meeting for the planning board last week. Joe was kind enough to put his summary in his
Report.
for the planning board, along with other things. So we heard from the CAC with Todd Walter. The last planning board meeting was a working meeting.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and then basically went over short-term rentals, which CJ covered a little bit of that.
Great.
So that's all I got.
Bronwyn?
I am double checking, but I think most of my meetings have been canceled in between time, except for broadband, which, yes, okay, so the broadband.
There we go.
And we discussed the negotiation of the Spectrum franchise agreement and didn't have any updates beyond what CJ shared about that. Looking at addresses that are falling between the cracks and we can take care of quickly. There's a handful of houses not being served, and one of the biggest barriers is the cost of going from the pole to the house, and that cost isn't really clear what it is, and it's not standardized, it doesn't seem, and it's Lake Ridge Road and Brooks Hill Road seem to be where the biggest clusters are. Do you want to talk about the county part of it?
Okay, Joseph.
I mean, there's the general disappointment that the county study is not going to be feeding us the information that we thought it was, and we talked about that a little bit. And some concerns that the county study is overlooking some third-party providers that are available in parts of our community. And so, yeah, we talked about that a bit. We're still, concerns about the Bitcoin mining operation for that main trunk and how that's going. So we talked about that. And then we talked a little bit about the pandemic money, because specifically one of the items that it should be is targeted to be spent on is broadband expansion. And so we talked about that. And I basically asked for, some suggestions on how that could be spent in the next couple of years. And what came up in the committee was, maybe there could be some kind of fund to help fill in the gap for houses that are too far from the road, that the town could have some kind of grant money to fill in some of that expense to bring more people online. And another thing that was talked about were county issues. Apparently there's some dead zones within our community that the radio system doesn't get to, and that could be used to fill those in. So that's the broadband committee. And the other thing I wanted to talk about tonight was the American Rescue Plan funds. We've got a whole lot of money coming to us. There's basically 4 different areas that it's been targeted for. And I would like to see the town kind of start a community discussion of where would our community like to see these funds go to? How would the community like to see it funded? Now, I recognize that we don't actually know specifically what we're allowed to use it for and what not. We've got some general bucket items. Support urgent COVID response efforts. Replace lost revenue. Support for economic stabilization and address public health and economic challenges that have contributed to unequal impact of it. So we've got some buckets here that we can talk about, but I'd like to get the community involved in that discussion. I'd like the town board to reach out and say, this is what's happening. We don't have the specifics yet, but we'd like to get some community input on this and really try to get the folks to talk to us about it, because I think it should be a community-wide discussion, because this is like a one-time dump of money, and I don't think people really realize that it's coming to the town, how much it is, and I want to give them a chance to talk about it.
Sure. No, I would agree, because I think most people don't even know that the town's going to get some money.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so it would be very good to educate them, and then they educate us and say what they would like. No, that's a very good idea. Okay.
I think we use it for broadband.
Use it for what?
Broadband.
Broadband? I mean, if that's the biggest, you know,
Right, I
concern.
think
that's
there
what
may be
you
stuff
do.
that we don't even
Yeah,
see that needs to be happening, yeah.
Well, there's some questions to be answered as to how we can spend it, because I do think one of the priorities is, if we can, reimburse us for expenses that we had as a result of COVID. And also, I'm worried about cutting back on the amount of paving we did last year, because we had a reduction of funds. And I would like to put that money back, because I don't want to fall behind in road maintenance. So there's some things like that,
But
but
we did that back anyway?
I don't know.
I think we are. That's what I heard, I remember hearing.
I don't want to have it during a regular board meeting. I want a special,
And
because it just goes too long, and I would like to have
I think we should
a
also,
community meeting, yeah.
yeah, and I think we should also figure out a way to do it not just in an in-person meeting, but like the county did a survey or some other format to get people's input for people who can't necessarily come to a meeting or.
As long as it doesn't cost any money, I agree. All righty, is that it? All right, I think we have to move into, we don't have a work session, but move into executive session. And where's the, oh, God, did you have a report? Or-
No, most, everything that I had to do was submitted long before the meeting.
I guess I'd like to publicly thank the CAC committee, because they, including me a little bit, we worked really, really hard. And they weren't always the most phenomenal meeting. I mean, you just had to do it, you had to do it, you know, so that we weren't dancing or anything in the meeting. I mean, we were working. So I'd like to publicly thank them for that. Okay.
I have something I missed.
Okay.
Next month, we're having somebody come to speak about the Cuba Lake Watershed Intermunicipal Organization and kind of give an overview of what it's doing, what it's planning on doing. When we talk about the haves at Myers and things, one of the things that they're looking to do is to be able to hire a watershed manager so that we can have someone who can really oversee the whole watershed and look at the whole picture. And so she's going to come next week and
Next month.
and help explain it much better than that.
Oh, very good.
Is she going to the CAC or she's going?
No, to the town board meeting.
Town board.
She and Ed have been in touch, so.
Okay.
Are you coordinating that with Liz Thomas?
Yeah.
Director Liz.
Who is she?
Liz Thomas.
That's what I thought.
Yeah.
Okay.
She used to be supervisor of town ambulances.
Okay. All righty, so I need a motion, but do I have to read something off that little card while
Yes.
You have to tell us what we're going to executive.
why we're going into executive session?
It's,
You can read it for me.
I don't know what the subject matter is, so I'll,
I think it's possible litigation.
yeah.
okay. Information or a discussion regarding proposed pending or current litigation.
So I need a motion to go into executive session at 9:04.
I'll move that, but I'd like to add property acquisition, because I have some questions.
Okay.
Okay, Joe.
Property acquisition where discussion of the terms might affect price or consideration.
Exactly.
Yep.
Number.
Okay, Joe moved it.
Correct.
I'll second it since I haven't done anything.